Okay, I'm going to do a video for Dizaster versus Cassidy. I believe it is on December 6th. I think that Dizaster will win. The reason I think he will win is because, for one, I think that it's on the West Coast, so it's in his backyard. I think the house will be full of mostly Dizaster fans. He's probably the top battler on the KOTD, even though I know it's not being thrown by that league. I think KOTD still represents that battle, whether, when I see Lush One's face, I see Lush One behind a KOTD camera, so for me, he's KOTD. I do understand that if you get technical, the tax ID numbers are different. Okay, I gotcha. And I'm not hating on it, I'm just calling it for what it is. So, I think that it's going to be mostly Dizaster fans in the house. And, I hate to say this, but you might see Cassidy choke. We saw Cannabis meltdown. We saw Joe Budden give up. And Cassidy, I think we probably will see. I think Cassidy, I think, got booed in the press conference. So he may get booed. He's going to be around a bunch of people that don't, it's not like a concert. People are singing along. I don't know how he's going to be able to handle the crowd. I think it will be. I don't think it'll be necessarily, like I say, he may get booed, but I don't think it'll be necessarily a straight up hostile crowd. I think it'll be like a non-reacting crowd. Like he says something that took him 2 days to put together, and he thinks is the hottest line ever. He drops it, gets absolutely no reaction, and then his brain goes elsewhere and he chokes, something like that. I think that's a possibility. So I don't think that they're going to recoup. I mean, they're talking about they paid Cassidy $250K. I don't think they'll recoup from the battle. I don't think that people are really going to tune in all extra crazy, all like that. I think that a lot of people like myself, I'm just going to be real. I expect Dizaster to win. I just want to see what Cassidy's bars are going to be like. That's really all I want out of this. I'm just curious to see where he's at because, like I said, I don't think it's really a good matchup. It's urban versus suburban. I'd rather see suburban versus suburban, urban versus urban type bars, or styles. So I think they're investing in Dizaster because Dizaster is already has Cannabis under his belt. He has the beef with Matt Hoffa, the punching Matt Hoffa on camera, and looking to get Cassidy under his belt. I think what they're doing, I think somebody's investing in Dizaster. I think they're trying to validate Dizaster for the more. I think they're trying to expand his brand out to more of the get him more accepted in the streets type deal. I don't even want to say accepted in the streets. I think they're just trying to expand his brand wider than it is. It seems like right now he's more confined to West Coast and Canada. I think they're trying to unlock, East Coast, not necessarily New York, because I think that right now he would have problems in New York based on, the math drama. I'm not saying that, right when he puts his foot across the border, 10 dudes are going to jump on him. Nothing like that. But I think there would be some problems in New York. I'm not saying he'd get beat up. I don't know what the hell will happen, but I don't think that he would not go to New York without being reminded that math fight happened at minimum. You know what I'm saying? And reminded is in quotes. So I think that they're just trying to validate Dizaster. I think they're just trying to build this brand, and they're trying to make him a draw similar to how Cassidy is a draw like this. I think they're trying to make Dizaster a huge draw, like a Loaded Lux style draw. These guys on the East Coast that are not mainstream rappers, but they're demanding Hollow the Don type money, Loaded Lux type money, Murder Moot type money. I think they're investing in Dizaster to make him on that level financially. And he would have the resume to justify it in a lot of people's eyes. I think Cassidy is not going to really be motivated for this battle. I've never heard him talk about Dizaster. Obviously, he's not motivated to battle Dizaster. He's motivated by the money. The money is going to be there, whether he has whack bars or great bars, whether he spends 20 minutes in front of the mirror practicing or 2 hours, or you know what I mean. It's all the money's going to be there. And I think he's going to go out like Averb, where he's not really going to care about what people think because he realizes that he's in kind of foreign territory. He's dealing with, I would say, the crowd in the house is probably not going to be people that were Cassidy fans. You know what I mean? He was doing his thing, or people that are really funding him to this day. He will have fans watching over the internet or whatnot, but I think that a lot of Cassidy fans understand that this is a big style clash, and I think a lot of people are going to give him a pass. Win or if he loses, I think he will lose. I think a lot of people give him the pass, same way they gave Averb the pass. Averb lost, 3-4 times straight on the West Coast, and then bam, got booked for Summer Madness 4. You know what I mean? And from what I hear, did a good job. So I think it's going to be that kind of template. Pretty much the West Coast, yes, you're getting used for your money. But you're allowing yourself to get used for your money because you're trying to build up, you're investing in Dizaster's reputation at the expense of Cassidy. So, I mean, it's an equal trade-off. You're kind of both using each other for something. I think that the reason... I think one of the problems that the West Coast has is that they're a rapper. For the last 30 years, we have the image of what a rapper is. MTV, BET, they've been selling us the image of a rapper for the last 30 years, And so then when you go out on the West Coast and you see, dudes that do not look like that image whatsoever, they don't get the same level of respect. Even though they may have bars, they may have, the lyrics and, to perform, whatever, the appearance isn't there. And I think people are having to slowly adjust over time to get comfortable with the appearance, but there's some people that aren't comfortable with that appearance representing, street rap. And I think that's when you start bringing because if you notice, East Coast dudes go over to the West Coast, but West Coast dudes don't go to the East Coast nearly as much. And I think it's because they're trying to get battles. They're trying to get people comfortable with the KOTD style rappers and seeing them and actually respecting them as rappers. You know what I mean? And so they bring over the more, traditionally validated amongst America style rappers over there for the KOTD guys to compete with. And if they beat them, then, okay, we can measure his skills now because he beat somebody that, is a legitimate rapper, But I think until then, I think a lot of these guys, it's sad to say, but I think some of them are taken as a joke because of their appearance and their content. And then when they, like I said, they get a what we would deem as a traditional rapper and they beat them, then we start to, okay, now they're more valid. Like an Ilmac. I'll call myself doing. Like when I first saw Ilmac, I was like, what, the dude has bars, but I didn't really take it serious. And then when I started seeing him battle more of these street style rappers, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, he, now I'll recognize him, So that was just the way it is. I think that the Dizaster band, I think what happened is you've got Organic, King of the Dot. These guys are from Canada. It's a street league, but, that term means a lot depending on where you're at, or can mean very different things depending on where you're at. And some street stuff happened on KOTD, and I think they looked at New York City for advice because they did not have the confidence in themselves to make a decision and stand next to it because they were too concerned of how they would be perceived by their peers, by, more urban style leagues, because it was more of kind of an incident happened that would be more common to a more urban style league. And I think the Organic just folded under pressure. Literally, I think all it really... Now, I'm not saying that this happened, but after that happened, all it would take is Smack to call Organic and say, you need to do this, X, Y, and Z, and he would have just did X, Y, and Z, just be off the strength of Smack saying it alone. I mean, I think that's how... I think that some of these guys are a little insecure to operate in that level. So... I think that math with Matt Hoffa, I don't really. I think might really. Diz can potentially start to get big. You know, I don't mean it. I think his name is really big, but I mean the finances to match. But the thing is if Diz gets big, one of the launching points in his career will be, you know, punching, beating up Math, whatever you want to call it. And the more that Diz blows up off of that, the more Math's career will sink. And that's the crazy dynamic to this, is what happens if Diz blows up and he gets this street label. He beats all these street rappers and he doesn't care. He's the dude that actually had courage, you know. He didn't fold to none of the street shit. He saw how pussy it was and he walked right through it, and that's a story. You know, and he doesn't care. He just, you know, the toughest rapper, he just punched him. You know what I mean? He's that tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that do to Math? I think that puts Math in a situation to where, and I hate to say it, but if that happens, if Diz starts blowing up and, you know, one of the centerpieces on it is punching Math to show how, you know, much courage or how much fear he doesn't have, then I think Matt's answer, unfortunately, might be to show Diz exactly how street he is. You know what I mean? So that's an angle of, not that it really has much to do with this, and I you know what, I might even delete that out because it's just a negative comment about Math. It really doesn't even need to be there. Um, so yeah, I think that's the video.